السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله علي الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وسندنا وأعلانا وأولانا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. Welcome to Quranic Arabic Academy. Arabic Grammar Made Easy. Lesson number 64. رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد رسولا. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم. In this lesson we're going to learn تقسيم الفعل, the types of فعل. تقسيم الفعل, the types of verb. In terms of مفعول به, there are some files that do not require مفعول به, and there's some فعل they do require مفعول به. So تقسيم الفعل, there's two types of فعل. The فعل is of two types in terms of whether it requires an object or not. Those فعls do not require an object, and if you do bring an object, grammatically it will be wrong, and even you aren't able to translate because they don't require مفعول به, an object. Those فعls they do require مفعول به, and you don't bring a مفعول به or you don't bring an object, the sentence is incomplete. What are these two types of فعل? Number one is called الفعل اللازم. الفعل اللازم. Number two, الفعل المتعدي. فعل المتعدي. The word متعد, it means to transfer. متعدي means to transfer. So the action of the fa'il transferred to something, and that is the object. So from here we can understand الفعل المتعدي requires an object, is مفعول به. The first one, الفعل اللازم, on the other hand, do not require an object. So let's see the meaning of الفعل اللازم. Those فعل that are not linked to an object. The action cannot be done directly to another thing. They are called فعل لازم. In English, intransitive verbs. A فعل لازم does not have an object. Okay, this is what فعل لازم is. Straightforward. Just remember فعل لازم do not have an object, مفعول به. On the other hand, الفعل المتعدي, those fi'l that are linked to an object. The action is done directly to another thing. They are called فعل متعد. In English, transitive verbs. A فعل متعد require an object. Sometimes a فعل متعد may have more than one object. In that case, we say مفعول به أول and مفعول به ثاني. So instead of just typing مفعول, there's two types of مفعول. Which مفعول we mean? We mean مفعول به. There. مفعول به. كده. مفعول به. Here. Okay. الفعل اللازم, those fi'ls do not require or do not have an object, مفعول به. And الفعل المتعدي, they do have مفعول به. For فعل لازم, if you do bring a مفعول به, this sentence will be wrong. The sentence will be incorrect. And فعل المتعدي, you don't bring a مفعول به, the sentence is incomplete. The sentence will be complete only when you bring a مفعول به. الفعل اللازم, الفعل المتعدي. These are the two types of fi'l in terms of having مفعول به or not. Understood? ورحمة الله وبركاته. Let's take some root letters of الفعل اللازم. Then, okay, this is the same example. The first letter is called the فاء الكلمة. So let's go through this again. Shin, Ra, and we have this Ba. Shin, Ra, Ba, three root letters. So Shin will come in place of Fa, and the Ra is coming in place of Ain. The Ba is coming in place of Lam. So the Shin is called Fa'ul Kalima because in the place of Fa. The Ra is called the Ainul Kalima because it's in place of Ain. And the Ba is called Lamul Kalima because it's in the place of Lam. So with this, we can make a fail, provided we know the haraka on the Ainul Kalima. It becomes Shariba, drink. Let's take a look at some al-fi'lul lazim. Some fi'l lazim. So we have three root letters, Jim, Lam, Sin. The fi'l is jalasa, to sit. So jalasa is fi'l al-lazim. Jalasa does not require, or jalasa don't have maf'ul به. Next, ذهب, ذهب, to go. Next, دال خا لام, دخل, to enter. This دخل can be used sometime for المتعدي as well. Then خراج, خرج, go out. Then صاد با را, صبر, to be patient. كاف ذال با, كذب, to lie, or كذب. Sometimes the عين الكلمة can have a فتحة, or عين الكلمة can have a كسرة for this verb كذب or كذب, lie. Let's take a look, another few. This time the عين الكلمة will have a كسرة. So in the previous over here, all this, the عين الكلمة had a فتحة. جلس, ذهب, دخل, خرج, صبر, كذب. All these, the عين الكلمة, the middle letter عين الكلمة, having a فتحة. Next, the عين الكلمة will have a كسرة. So فرح, فرح, to become happy or to be happy. ميم را ضاد, مرض, to become ill. ضاد ح كاف, ضحك, to laugh. Then so this will be ضاد ح كاف. And the شهد, not المتعدي, is it? Just take that. So just for example, we leave these three verbs. There are many as we come across, we'll point out. We are learning the al-fi'l al-lazim. Those fi'l do not require a maf'ul bihi. The aynul kalima sometimes has a fatha, the aynul kalima sometimes has a kasra. So fariha, to be happy or to become happy. Marida, to become ill. And dhahika, to laugh. And with the aynul kalima dhamma, we still have the same kaf ra mim, karuma, become generous. Qaf ra ba, qaruba, to become near. Ba ain dal, ba'uda, to become far. Ta qaf lam, thaqula, to become heavy. And dad ain fa, da'ufa, to become weak. From this verb we have the word da'ifun, weak. This is where the hadith da'if comes. Hadithun da'ifun. In the books you'll find they say هذا حديث ضعيف. Look, hadith, sometimes I don't want to go into this. Sometimes it's important to point out some of the things. The scholars, they have categorized a hadith into three groups. One is called hadithun sahihun. Number two, hadithun hasanun. Number three, hadithun da'ifun. Hadith is hadith. Hadith has, or you can say hadith, they've made it into three categories. But they're all hadith. They just named it. Hadithun sahihun. All the scholars have set some rules. I'm going to follow these rules. If any hadith falls under rule number one, I'll call it sahih. If any hadith falls under rule number two, I'll call that hadith hasan. If any hadith falls in rule number three, I'll call it da'if. But they're all hadith. Like we have a fail, two types of fail. They all fail, aren't they? Fail lazim is a fail. Fail mutaddi still is a fail. It has two categories, that's all. Same thing here. Hadith is hadith. Hadith has three categories. Hadithun sahihun is a hadith. Hadithun hasanun is a hadith. Hadithun da'ifun still is a hadith. Okay. Then it comes to the other scholars, Aimma Mujtahidin. They say if there are any Aqidah hadith, I will take only if it is a hadith sahih or hadith hasan. But if hadith da'if has any aqidah, I won't take that. It doesn't mean the hadith da'if is not a hadith. When it comes to halal and haram, if hadith has a sahih, I'll take that. Hadith hasan, okay, fine. But hadith da'if, I'll not take that. This comes in the Aimma Mujtahidin. Then they say that from which hadith we will derive the rulings in the masails. When there is no aqidah, when there is no rulings, hadith da'if, the same as hadith, other hadiths. When we hear it's da'if, oh, keep away from it, it's dangerous, it is a hadith, come on, don't keep away from it. Right, so ضاد عين فاء ضعف, to become weak. If you notice, I've highlighted the kaf of these three letters, kaf ra mim. I've also highlighted only this fail karuma. The rest of it I haven't highlighted it. So remember this fail karuma. Let's take a look at some al-fi'l al-muta'addi. Al-fi'l al-muta'addi. Noon, Sad, Ra. Oh, again, the noon is highlighted. Remember this. Nasara. Noon, Sad, Ra. The fi'l is Nasara, highlighted. Remember, to help. Fataha. Fataha, to open. Dad, Ra, Ba. Daraba, to strike, to hit. Sin, Mim, Ayn. Sami'a, to hear. If you look, the Ainul Kalima changing over here. Next, Hasiba, Hasiba, to estimate. Nasara, to help. Fataha, to open. Daraba, to strike. Sami'a, to hear. Hasiba, to estimate. So these are from the second category of fail, al-fail al-muta'addi. Let's take a look at some more al-muta'addi. Kaf, taba, kataba. How do I know the kaf has a fatha? How do I know the ta has a fatha? How do I know the ba has a fatha? As I've said many times, in fail madi, the fa'ul kalima and the lamul kalima always will have a fatha. You cannot go wrong in that. It is the ainul kalima we need to know. The fa'ul kalima and the lamul kalima always will be fatha in fail al-madi. It is the ainul kalima we don't know. We don't know as a kasra, fatha or dhamma. Just have to learn. So this one has a fatha, kataba, to write. Ghain, fara, ghafara, to forgive. Rafa'in, rafa'a, to raise. Dha, lam, mim, dhalama, to do wrong. Shin, kaf, ra, shakara, to thank. The one, no, we don't have another. Now let's back. Okay. So kataba, to forgive, sorry, to write. Ghafara, to forgive. Rafa'a, to raise. Dhalama, to do wrong. Shakara, to thank. So we have two types of fail, al-fail al-lazim and al-fail al-muta'addi. Al-fail al-lazim, they don't have an object. There's no maf'ul bihi for al-fail al-lazim. Al-fail al-muta'addi, these fail have maf'ul bihi. Some of the fails will have two maf'ul bihi. So when I have a fail, how would I know if this fail al-lazim or al-fail al-muta'addi? I have a fail from me. How would I know? Is there any signs? Is there any alamat? Or is there anything that I know to find out? Is this fail al-lazim or al-fail al-muta'addi? I'll give you the answer a bit later. So let's move on. Yes, there is an easy way to find a fail al-lazim or fail al-muta'addi. So I will answer that a bit later. Combination of al-fail al-madi and al-fail al-mudari. Sometimes for the al-fail al-mudari, it will say fathul ayn, كسر العين ضم العين. For فعل ماضي you'll have it in the dictionary, you'll have it. Even for فعل الماضي as well, for both, okay, الفعل الماضي and الفعل المضارع, because sometime in the dictionaries you may not have the haraka, so they will say الفعل الماضي فتح العين or كسر العين وضم العين, and it will say الفعل المضارع فتح العين كسر العين ضم العين من the عين الكلمة. But there's easy way to remember, to know the فعل مضارع, the combination of فعل مضارع and فعل ماضي. There are 6 combination of فعل ماضي and فعل مضارع. They are called the babs. They're called babs. Below are the 6 babs. If you memorize these 6 babs and all the fails we have will fall in one of these 6 babs. Or if you want to follow the first rule in the dictionary, it will say the فتح العين for ماضي and for فعل مضارع, كسر العين ماضي or for فعل مضارع, ضم العين ماضي or for فعل مضارع. There's another way. There are 6 combination of فعل الماضي and الفعل المضارع. They are called the babs. Below are the 6 babs. So let's look at those 6 babs. الفعل الماضي نصر ينصر. Look at the عين الكلمة in فعل الماضي. The عين الكلمة in فعل الماضي has a فتحة. In فعل مضارع the عين الكلمة has a ضمة. نصر ينصر. Look at the next one. فتح يفتح. فعل ماضي has a فتحة, the عين الكلمة. In فعل مضارع the عين الكلمة also has a فتحة. The second combination, فتح يفتح. Number 3, ضرب يضرب. Look at over here. الماضي has a فتحة ضرب. In فعل مضارع the عين الكلمة has a كسرة. It is another combination. ضرب يضرب. Number 4, سمع يسمع. The عين الكلمة has a كسرة in فعل الماضي. Until now, عين الكلمة no كسرة in فعل الماضي. There's only this one, سمع. In فعل مضارع, عين الكلمة has a فتحة. So we only had one عين الكلمة فتحة in فعل مضارع, which is يفتح. But فعل ماضي also has a فتحة. Over here talking about فعل ماضي has a كسرة. So in فعل ماضي عين الكلمة كسرة. In فعل مضارع عين الكلمة has a فتحة. So سمع يسمع. Next, حسب يحسب. فعل ماضي عين الكلمة has a كسرة. فعل مضارع عين الكلمة also has a كسرة. This is another combination. حسب يحسب. And number 6, كرم يكرم. Both عين الكلمة in فعل ماضي and فعل مضارع has a ضمة. كرم يكرم. So these are the 6 combination. نصر ينصر. فتح يفتح. ضرب يضرب سمع يسمع حسب يحسب كرم يكرم. In many of the Sarf books, you'll find these combinations, but you can make your own combination with another fi'l that falls in this pattern. Some others, they have made their own combination. For example, they may have over here, instead of sami'a yasma'u, they may have amila ya'malu. Amila, as long as the aynul kalima has a kasra in fil madi, aynul kalima has a fatha in fil mudari. And have that as your bab. So these are the famous ones. Nasara yansuru, fataha yaftahu, daraba yadribu, sami'a yasma'u, hasiba yahsibu, karuma yakrumu. So sometime you'll see the fil madi fathul ayn, or fil mudari fathul ayn, fil madi kasrul ayn, or fil mudari kasrul ayn, fil madi dammul ayn, or fil mudari dammul ayn. Or sometime you'll see they just mention nasara. Then you know what will be the harak on the aynul kalima of madi, what will be harak on the aynul kalima in fil mudari. For example, I have the fil jalasa, jalasa. See, the dictionary, to make it short, they will just have the fil madi jalasa. Instead of writing fil mudari, all of it, if they write everything, the dictionary will be twice big as what we have now, or 3 times bigger. Instead, they just write this, these babs. Like jalasa, you'll say daraba. Now we know daraba yadribu, jalasa yajlisu. The lamul kalima, aynul kalima having kasra. Even instead of writing all this fa'il daraba, they just write the first letter, dad, in the bracket. Dad. That means from bab daraba. Let's take down the fa'il sajada. If you want to know the fa'il mudari of that, it will say noon. Noon means nasara. Yansuru, yasjudu. The sajada is from bab nasara. Alima, 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 from bab samia. Sin. Amila, ya'malu, or alima, ya'lamu. ضعف فعل ضعف from باب كرم. كاف ضعف يضعف. One thing to remember, all the fi'l that comes from bab karuma, they are all fi'l lazim. Okay? From bab karuma, you'll never find a fi'l muta'addi. If a fi'l comes from this bab, karuma yakrumu, they're all fi'l lazim. Remember that. And the rest of the babs, they can have fi'l lazim, they can have fi'l muta'addi. Okay, these are the 6 babs combination. Nasara yansuru, you will see if anyone says is noon, you know is nasara yansuru. If anyone says, or in the dictionary says a fa, from bab fataha yaftahu. If they say dad, means daraba yadribu, Sin means سمع يسمع. Ha means حسب يحسب. And kaf means كرم يكرم. These are the 6 combination of فعل المضارع. Right. Yes, they are just the name of the babs. Nasr Yansuru, the name of the bab. Right. So we know there's 2 types of fails in terms of having maful bihi or not. So there'll be many other types of fail in terms of other things. But the thing we're talking about, types of fail in terms of having maful bihi or not. Is there a way to find a fail lazim? If I have a fail in front of me, for example, just take example ذهب. If I have a ذهب, how do I know is this fail al-lazim or fail al-muta'addi? We know, first of all, obviously, you need to know the meaning of the fail. ذهب means to go. ذهب means to go. And once we have the first sigha, we say as a masdar meaning to go, masdar meaning, or we can have the fa'il hidden, the damir huwa. He went. ذهب, he went. Let's skip this, just try to translate the file as well. He went. ذهب. Now ask a question. The question can be in 2 ways. The question can be in 2 ways. If the question is correct, then you know it is فعل المتعدي. If the question is incorrect, means it doesn't make sense, then you know it is الفعل اللازم. So the question you ask, what he, okay? What he, and put the meaning of the fail. What he went. What he went. Does it make sense? Is there a question? No. So this is fail al-lazim. What he went. Another question you can ask with who. Take a fail nasara. He helped. Nasara. So who he helped. Question correct? Make sense? Yes. So it's fail al-muta'addi. Take another fail. Akala. Akala. Eat. To eat. He ate. Okay. Akala. What he ate. Just put the fail straight away. What he ate. Make sense? Is it a good question? Correct question? Yes. So this is fail al-muta'addi. Jalasa. Without using any preposition, just direct the meaning of the verb. Don't use any prepositions. Jalasa. What he said. What he said. Does it make sense? No, it's not a question. What he said. So that is fail al-lazim. So you don't need maful bihi. ضحك, to laugh. ضحك. What he laughed. No question, is it? Does it make sense? What he laughed. So ضحك is فعل اللازم. ضرب. ضرب. Ask a question. Who did he hit? The question is the correct question. Because ضرب is فعل المتعدي. You understand? Just ask this question. Some fail you need to say what, and for some fail you need to say who. If the question is correct, that is fail al-muta'addi, and if the question is incorrect, mean doesn't make sense, that is al-fail al-lazim. I hope you understood how to find a fail lazim or a fail muta'addi. So these are the 6 combinations of الماضي and المضارع. نصر ينصر, فتح يفتح, ضرب يضرب, سمع يسمع, حسب يحسب, كرم يكرم. In the bracket you will see these letters. The first letter of the فعل ماضي نون نصر, ف فتح, ضاد ضرب, سين سمع, ح حسب, كاف كرم. So let's see what we have. Just ignore the title. So just to make you understand, we've done this in the past, just to make you understand. We have a sentence here. Let's do the Arab. جلس الولد. جلس الولد. As we've talked about, ask a question. The boy. What the boy said. What the boy said. Does it make sense? So this جلس is فعل اللازم. You don't need مفعول به, and you cannot have مفعول به for جلس. Our جملة is complete. جلس الولد. جلس فعل, الولد فاعل. That's it. That's all you need. فعل فاعل, a complete جملة. Just ignore the translation. I think I did not change the translation. Sorry. جلس فعل ماض مبني على الفتح. عن الولد فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفع ضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Let's change it. Let's copy that one. The boy set is al-madi. Okay, so جلس الولد, the boy sat. جلس فعل ماض مبني على الفتح. الولد فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفع ضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Okay, so slowly we're getting there, inshallah. These things you remember, if the combination of فعل ماضي and فعل مضارع, the 6 babs. So al-fa'l al-lazim can come from any of the babs. Al-muta'addi also can come from any of the babs. But the bab karuma yakrumu, whatever fa'l comes from this bab or this combination, karuma yakrumu, the ainul kalima in madi and in al-fa'l mudari dhamma, then those fa'ls are al-fa'l al-lazim. It's only this combination, dhamma dhamma. The ainul kalima fa'l madi dhamma, the ainul kalima in fa'l mudari also dhamma, karuma yakrumu. Any fa'l falls under this pattern or this bab, they're all fa'l lazim. The way we've learned, karuma yakrumu, to become generous. Ba'uda yab'udu, to become far. Qaruba yaqrubu, to become near. and ضعف يضعف to become weak. So these are all فعل لازم. So ضعف asked the question, what he became weak. What he became weak. Okay. Or who he became weak. Who he became weak. Both of the questions don't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So this fail is fail al-lazim. So remember these two types of fails. I remember the 6 babs, 6 combination of fail al-madi and fail al-mudari. And inshallah, any fail you find, you cannot go wrong. We will see in the next lesson. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.